Afghanistan is the world's largest humanitarian crisis for women, and I just saw a video of a woman saying that she was moving to Afghanistan for a man that she met on the internet, and she didn't really seem to think anything bad was going to happen to her. I'm here to tell you that I don't wish this upon anyone. Something bad could happen to her, likely will, because this is what's going on in Afghanistan. We should all know about it anyway, because it's a terrible crisis that doesn't get enough attention. But Afghanistan is ruled by the Taliban, a group of severe religious leaders. Now, when we think about theocracy, Islamic theocracy in general, people think about Iran, and Iran has a severe moral police. It's brutal, it's a theocracy, people don't have freedom. The Taliban is somehow even more radical than that. So you think about the most radical theocracy in the world, Taliban's even more radical. Now there's loose concepts of government because it is one of the poorest countries in the world and it was marred by war for 40 years. What does war do? Also, it radicalizes people into different sects and it allows this vacuum of power that allows groups like the Taliban to come into power. So how did this happen in the first place? What's happening to women now? Well, women are not allowed to do anything. You need a male figure to go to anywhere. Women are prevented from speaking in public by this law that they call something like the propagation of virtue and prevention of vice, that women can't even talk in public. Women can't go anywhere. Even UN officials that are women are not allowed to go into the office. If you want to see a doctor as a woman, you must wear a full burqa. This is not a comment about what people can choose on their own to wear religiously. This is to say that how can a woman being forced to wear something that covers her entire body, be properly examined by a doctor? And now there aren't allowed to be female doctors, no female judges, no female lawyers. In the mid-century of the 20th century, the Taliban was not a thing. And women in Afghanistan had rights. They were doctors, they were judges, they were lawyers. From 2001 to 2021, women were also re-entering public life. Now women are not allowed to be educated, they're not allowed to go to college, they're not allowed to go in public without a male relative, they're not allowed to speak in public, they must wear the full burqa. And how does this happen? So in 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan after the Iranian Revolution. They saw a vacuum of power in the region, and they wanted to prop up a communist government that had taken hold in Afghanistan. When the Soviets withdrew in the 90s, it created a power vacuum. And this group of students called Talibs, they were students, Talib is student, they had their awakening, their upbringing in refugee camps in Pakistan, in madrasas, I don't know how to say it, but in these religious schools also that were very conservative, very radical, and they promised order and authority, and they got it in the end. Because when you have this religious objective, you have this moral objective, they're blending multiple types of Islam with Pashtun traditional tribal values, and they were good at organizing. When you have this overarching cause, you're able to rally the troops behind you, and they took control. Then they led for 4 years, and then in 2001, the United States invaded with a coalition of allies Afghanistan because the Taliban was providing refuge and cover to Al-Qaeda, who perpetrated 9/11. Then for 20 years, essentially constant war. The war in Afghanistan was an abject failure. The withdrawal was an abject failure. It was all a failure because the second America withdrew, after 20 years of women in Afghanistan being allowed to go back to school, them trying to spend billions of dollars on a new Afghan government, it literally took weeks for that government to totally collapse. And now the Taliban has all these billions of dollars in weapons and infrastructure that was largely paid for by America and Western allies. So regime change only works if there's a regime ready to take over if you remove one, which is very rare, very hard, and that's why regime change normally doesn't work. And it didn't work here, because now in 2021 the Taliban took back over, immediately implemented all of these severe laws, like women can't go see a doctor, women can't be a doctor, women can't go in public, women can't do anything, and a man can totally control a woman's life. And so 80% of Afghan women say that their mental health is terrible. Female mortality is going to go up 50%. Child marriage has gone up 25% in the last few years, and it will only continue to go up. And for a woman to say that she's moving there and doesn't expect anything bad to happen is a failure of us collectively to talk about the crisis for women throughout the world, specifically in this place where it is the hotbed. 21 million women and girls not allowed to do anything, subject to rampant violence, child marriage, not allowed to be educated, not allowed to do anything. And all of this arose out of 40 years of perpetual war and conflict from outside powers that allowed this radicalism to take hold as a promise of stability that has now resulted in a catastrophic consequence